Hey you guys! So this is really exciting because we're in Doctrine and Covenants. Yay! I'm actually filming this Christmas Eve. So the reason I'm here, which you're gonna go, where is that? And one of my viewers might recognize it because it's their house. That's my mum's house. So they're away for the day and it's nice and quiet. And because I have people at my house, and because it's Christmas Eve and there's like a million people out there and it's raining outside as well, I was like, well, I know my mum's got some lovely artwork, so let's go stand in front of that. So, ta-da! And as we're talking about Doctrine and Covenants 1 this week, and it is the Lord's preface to the Doctrine and Covenants, which were indeed written by him, although they were transcribed by others, mostly Joseph Smith, they were written by the Lord. So, what better place to come film, right? Okay, so a little background before we get into this. So Doctrine and Covenants section 1, and it's the only one we're going to read this week. So really, really easy to do. I said to Dave, have you done your reading this week? And he's like, oh, I'm like, what, all 38 verses, really? So yeah, you can do it. But section 1 is the preface to the Doctrine and Covenants. I've just got some notes here. That was given, it's actually chronologically, it's between sections 66 and 67. So they'd gotten like 66 sections done. They used to keep them in this chest. And if you wanted one, like if you're going on a mission, you'd go out and you'd copy it out and you'd carry it with you. And when you met missionaries out in the field, they'd swap them around. So they had new stuff to teach. So that's what it was, and there was a committee, including Joseph Smith, that was sort of like, really, there's got to be a better way, let's publish it. I think they had a goal of 10,000, and then sort of had a more realistic goal of 3,000. The picture, actually, in this week's Come Follow Me manual, at the back of the picture for this lesson, they have that full-page picture, is Wilford Woodruff's copy of the first edition of the Doctrine and Covenants. So that's kind of cool. And that's kept at the Church History Museum, I think it is, or whatever it is. But I've been there and I've seen it, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, so they said, look, if we're going to put these together, we need a preface. Because the preface introduces the book, tells it what it's about. Have a look, like Google preface. It gives you like a whole background on what a preface is. A preface. So it's like it's pre to seeing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so they are Sidney Rigdon, Oliver Cowdery, and William McLennan, who were like school teachers, educated, well-read kind of people, to put together this preface. And when they got together, it just wasn't right. And they were like, no, it just doesn't fit. It's not good. So they turned to Joseph Smith and like, will you write one? And he's like, no, only if we pray about it. So they prayed about it, and this is how it's written down. This is how this, history of it goes. Said that he, after the prayer, went to the window and he started speaking, and I think it was Oliver Cowdery started scribing it down, and it was the Lord speaking. So the Lord wrote the preface to his own book, which back in those days really kind of wasn't the thing to do. I know it is now. People write preface for their own book. Back then it was like you'd get someone who was a really well-renowned author to write the preface for your book. So very cool that he wrote his own preface. So that's just a bit of background. So we're going to start in Doctrine and Covenants 1, verse 1. So I'll get that. So got my new journaling scriptures. So brand new scriptures for this year. And as you can see, journaling ones have like the space here that you can write stuff and draw all over, and which I like to do. So Doctrine and Covenants 1, section 1, verse 1 says, Hearken, O ye people of my church, saith the voice of him who dwells on high, and whose eyes are upon all men. Yea, verily I say, hearken ye people from afar, and ye that are upon the islands of the sea, listen together. So, how do you see Jesus reaching out to everyone? Because he says there, this is for everyone. The church is for everyone. I'm talking to everyone, including the islands of the sea, which, being from an island of the sea, we're often forgotten about, especially New Zealand. A lot of maps of the world just miss New Zealand off completely. It's like we just disappear. So we're not forgotten. So how does it make you feel that here the Lord is actually reaching out to everyone? And how do you see that in everyday life? How do you witness this? So the Lord clearly addresses everybody. Clearly, very clearly, distinctly puts down everybody. And does this throughout the Doctrine and Covenants too. You'll notice that this year that he will distinctly call people by name, address certain groups of people, or just simply refer and make it quite clear that he is talking to everybody. So that's pretty cool. But you can see this happen and be part of the reaching out. You can be part of the reaching out, right? So if you see Jesus Christ reaching out to others, sometimes you've done that reaching out yourself. Yeah? Okay. So, the quote for this, so think about that though. Especially over this sort of, weird week that we have that's not really 2020, but it's not quite 2021. And, a lot of people are off work. I know New Zealand, that it's a big holiday week. Most places are shut down. Like, they're still shut. They're just not open. Heaven help you if you need a plumber or an electrician, because they're just not around. It's you kind of either know one or you just go without. Yeah, so like, I don't know what it's like in the States this time of year. I've been there once and found that people just kind of went about their regular days. So, but it is school holidays for most of the world. Most of the world's off school. So during this time, think about how you're reaching out. How do you see Jesus Christ reaching out to everyone? Because he is there reaching out to every single one of us. Maybe you've been reached out to during this time. Maybe you felt that. So think on that. That's a question to ponder. Okay. Our quote's from Elder Neil A. Maxwell. Amazing guy. He said, each of us is an innkeeper who decides if there is room for Jesus. Isn't that cool? Because if you want to be part of the reaching out, you've got to let it. We talked about last year, well, this year still, 2020 year, because this week kind of overlaps the both, about, if you want to feel Jesus' love, you also have to let him love you. You can't just be all, you don't love me, okay, but you have to let him love you. So you also have to let him in. So each of us is an innkeeper who decides if there is room for Jesus. Are you going to put him out in the stable, or are you going to let him in? Okay, got it? Right, okay. So I'm going to move on to verse 7 and number 2. So I'll see you there in a bit, everybody. Enjoy the artwork.